And we are back. Welcome, guys. It is the Afrogamer Show, and it's great to be back once again to take you on a journey into the world of esports, gaming, and the games. It is your favorite show, I believe by now. It should be your favorite show when it comes to anything around the world of, video games, and definitely your weekend starter, like we love to call it. My name is Shayo, your regular host, and yes, indeed, the program reaches you right here on Afrosports TV, and it's a joint package of Afrosports TV and the Afrogamer News platform, which is where the name came from anyway, so no secrets in that one. Welcome to the show, guys. It's a bumper package as always. It's been an eventful week across the world of sports, and no direct connection with what I'm about to say, and that's talking about the 144th IOC session where a new president is coming to be, and we know why the IOC or the Olympic movement is of importance to us in esports. It's all because of the Olympic Esports Games, which is coming up. So lots of conversations around what's happening there, and if the new president would be driving the esports conversation just like it's been done over the last 5 years with the 2020-5 esports agenda. Welcome to the show, guys. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, as always, my guy Ife would join me, and is the man about the not only Africa now. He has shown that it's not only just Africa. He's the man about the town of esports, and together we'll be diving into the news that's making the round. Stick around, guys. It is the Afrogamer Show right here on Afrosports TV. Alright, welcome back, guys. It's still the Afrogamer Show, and yes, if you're just tuning in, you've not missed anything at all other than the introductions and at the start of the show. I've got Ife joining me right now. As usual, we do this together, and that's delving into the news starting from Africa and then beyond Africa. Ife, how has it been? How's the week been? We know there was a NOCA session, a NOCA electoral assembly last week, IOC this week. The world of Olympics is shaping up, but more than anything, our expectation is that it favors the world of esports as we become part of the Olympic movement, right?
Yes, Shayo. Happy to be back again. The week has been okay. Like you did mention, there were a little bit of positive news on Anoka's side, which at the moment is not yet available to be revealed. We're hoping to get that information as soon as possible to push forward. And then obviously the IOC members are in Greece, and they are voting for their new president. Hopefully, whoever gets that mantle will be able to shed more light as to what direction esports will really be going to in terms of Olympic esports.
Definitely. Well, this is all about esports, gaming, and the games, not necessarily about traditional sports. And we delve straight into it, starting out in Morocco. eBotola is the just like the Premier League, it's the electronic version of the league out there in Morocco, and the Esports Federation has announced yet another season of this competition. 20 teams participating. If tell us more about this.
Yes. So the eBotola, it just duplicates the electronic version of the league that they do have. Although just a background thoughts or explanation is that this translates to the World Cup. So what EA is having, it will translate. The winners will obviously go ahead. So same thing with EPL. So same thing is happening to give the Africans that platform. So I believe last year or 2 years ago there was eBotola and ENPFL, but this year it's just the eBotola. So if you an African gamer and you were longing to perform, on the grand stage, you had to either be playing in Europe, which the South Africans are doing. So like Team Goliath, they are going to, Asia, going to Europe to play from there, whereas other Africans are having to play in Morocco. Okay. So this is hosted by the Federation of Morocco Esports. They are called Fédération Royale Marocaine de Electronics, but it just means it just means the federation. So they are the ones handling you really need to. So they are the ones handling the eBotola Professional Championship, which has kicked off. The announcement was made last week Friday, and they did the seedings. So 20 teams, because the league also has 20 teams. So they had 20 teams divided into 2 groups. So 10 teams on both sides, and then they kicked off on each side. So and then they kicked off the games this past weekend, and they'll continue this weekend. So a few things did stand out. They were able to. Some teams had international players. When I say international, out of Morocco. So you had a few players from Senegal who play for Solo Esports. They were able to be part of one or two teams. So there's a popular name which everyone knows. If you're in esports in Africa, you know that is Dex Jr., who has been able to, hold his own for years now in terms of FIFA, which is now known as EAFC. So he is playing for Tangier Sports Union, which is one of the teams in the Botola League. And then you also have Taishik Masamba. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing that Senegalese name properly. Yes. Yeah. So he is representing Al Quad Sports Club. And how this model is going is each team would have 2 players, and you're playing the best of 3. So each player gets to play. So it's not a case of you have a starter and you have a sub. Game 1, you play one of your players. Game 2,
at least a player will play one game. If it goes into the 3rd game, then you decide who gets to play that one.
Exactly. Exactly. So so that is how that is how that is going. Okay. And then they started those games over the weekend. Yeah. And then for Team Alquads, they lost their first. Yes, exactly. So for the first game that happened the past weekend, Team Alquads lost their own game, their first game, 3-2. Or rather, they lost it 2-0. Okay. But when Sheik played his own game, he lost his own fixture 3-2, and that's for Group A. And then we have Dex Jr. He played his own game, Group B. His club won 2-1, and his own match fixtures, he blew away his opponent 9-3. It was
a massacre.
Yes. So he blew his opponent 9-3, and you'll be able to see the table on the screen and the teams that will be participating as as we're progressing in this conversation. So Alquads, I think they are 19th on the table, and Alquads should be, I believe, second. Okay. I believe, second on the table, despite Dex, beating his opponents 9-3. Rather, they sit 4th.
Okay.
They sit 4th. Yeah, they sit. They sit 4th on the table, and then Alquad sits 19th overall, but 9th on their own Group A table. Okay. So they will pick up those games next weekend and just keep it moving.
Okay, interesting stuff there. eBotola happening with the Moroccan League. Sharing news indeed, seeing some foreign guys getting a call to be part of this one, and big questions you really would ask about the potential for the Nigerian gamer and how they can get to be part of this. And this is me coming from the point of the fact that the Moroccans, or the president of the Moroccan body, leads a part of the African confederation, whatever it is, and it could have been a case of getting people from from around his own side to be part of this one. All right, so we'll staying with EAFC, and then this time we're going down south to South Africa. Mettlestate have done something that seems to be unlocking grassroots esports. Ife, let's talk about this one. I know you made a joke that it sounded like our Onile esports, which we had here, and now it's something interesting, and I think I love the whole concept. And the truth is, at the end of the day, this is where we would all be building from grassroots, so that we discover some talents that nobody thought existed, and maybe might just be world beaters down the line.
Yes, so I'm really impressed with Mettlestate. They always keep coming out with, impactful initiatives. So in this case, they are working with Penrose Esports. So Penrose is also a tech company that supplies techs to their clients. So they'll be working with Mettlestate to kind of build and empower gaming hubs across their 9 provinces. So you have I think almost 20 or so across those 9. So what they are doing is just having EAFC 25 tournaments at 20 townships across all those. They are hosting EAFC tournaments, and they are recognizing one thing. There's a disconnect between grassroots and professional. So outside of the Goliath gaming, there are people who are also playing that have no idea about professionalism. So that is just an opportunity to build that bridge. So to me, these are initiatives I personally love, and I'm happy that they're doing something like that. And they gave it a name, Kasi Flair 2025. As to what that means, I do not know, but across their 9 provinces in South Africa, they made sure that at least each township is represented and there's a gaming hub. And the good thing is each township already has their logo, they have their design, so it is well thought out. And it's just not, oh, we're naming, we're doing it in this hub or not. Everything is well thought out. So they'll be starting with 10 gaming hubs, which will start April 5th. And then the following week of April 12th, they will do the remaining 10. The prize pool is 10,000 rand, and the whole idea, the main focus is to be able to expand access to high quality tournaments, which they are bringing to the gaming hubs, build and sustain, gaming hubs. So the whole essence is, okay, a gaming hub, but they know that they a lot of gaming hubs are struggling. So they are trying to empower them and make them sustainable. And obviously the main focus is bridging that gap between professionalism and grassroots esports.
All right, thanks a lot, Ife. Definitely, we're looking out for this one. Looking at the different faces going around the 9 provinces is definitely a big hit by Mettlestate, and we'll wait and see how that pans out. On a final note from the African scene, let's talk about this one. Not too good news, not the kind of news we want to start seeing, not even for an industry or an ecosystem that's just evolving. Stories about unpaid prize money emerged out of the Kenyan market, if we can say that, or the Kenyan ecosystem in the course of the week, and this definitely is not a good look considering the good work that the Federation has done there. And it doesn't have to do with the Federation, it's about a private entity putting a tournament together since September, and this is March, and people are complaining about not getting paid. Ife.
Oh yes, Shayo, this is one of the things that has become an Achilles heel for Africa, where you have winners of esports tournaments not getting paid. So in this case, the Federation of Kenya, Ronnie, had to release a press statement about unpaid winnings from a tournament organizer, which is the Alpha Clan Esports. They hosted tournaments of several titles September, and they have not been picking calls, they've not been responding to emails. So obviously beta gamers had to now start calling out to the president of the federation like, hey, this is what's going on, this is what's happening. And once again, that organization is not affiliated with the federation. If you could recall, back when the federation started leadership with Ronnie, he did call out to stakeholders to come and be registered under the federation. Yes, and then they can now act as an overseeing body. So once again, the best they could do was to release that statement, because that organization was not under them. So obviously they sent out that press release. The Afrogamer News carried it, and a lot of gamers were not happy. All of a sudden, the tournament organizer, who had been quiet all this while, also decided to release their own statement, saying they've been battling with legal issues and give flimsy excuses. But what stood out in that press release was more like a grandstanding, because the federation had said they use this to they'll have nothing to do with the federation, and it now sounded like there was something more than just that. So that took away the attention of them explaining about the prize pool. Once again, you have not been responding to emails, text messages, calls, but when they call you out and it's the federation, you decided to clap back, in my opinion, which that now that doesn't mean anything to us. So Shayo, that is one problem in Africa. And to now make matters worse, Alpha Clan Esports is an esports team, and me and you have had this conversation. Why are esports teams providing services of a tournament organizer, and it's so rampant in Africa, especially the mobile gaming side? Call of Duty, PUBG, you see communities hosting tournaments, and then the person giving out the money is a team owner.
Person of interest.
and they are saying I spoke to a few people in community.
There's really nothing to. Okay, let me hear
I spoke to a few people, and I was hearing that is what the owners used to compensate themselves, knowing that running an esports team is not profitable. So it's just more of a something to tap their shoulder, like, okay, I did well. And I'm like, how does that make sense?
How does that even make sense?
I'm like, how does that make sense?
That's as good as taking money from your right pocket
and putting it in your left pocket. Exactly. So I think now federations have a lot of work to do. Get your approval from the government, get your backing from the government, and then have a proper framework. Like, we're not telling you not to host tournaments, but you have to be registered, and then ways of making sure that these tournament organizers are held accountable, because it has become so much of a common thing. People just host tournaments. Once again, I heard of a tournament just yesterday, a tournament that was supposed to be 10k, it came down to 5k, it was pegged at 4k, and then the winner just paid 2,000, or rather the organizer just paid 2,000 and said, you guys forget about the remaining 2,000 because the sponsors did not live up to the expectation. And I'm like, so why are you, first of all, hosting a tournament without having money? You can't just rely on sponsorships. You need to put your house in order, and that's why there's an article out which I put out today, and I suggested a few things. You could have like an escrow account where you put an amount, or at least have a cushion of 50% of the winnings, so that you are communicating this to the winners while you are waiting for your sponsorship. You give them that 50% upfront. I said it would take 60 to 90 days, which is not out of place, to set those expectations, because I'm sure even the winners of Saudi, I'm sure they did not get the payment instantly, but there was that expectation. So we need to put our house in order in Africa and start doing things right.
Okay. All right. Let's hope they listen. This has been a problem right from 2020. For those who know my story, I crossed from traditional sports media marketing into esports in 2020 during COVID, and that was like a rampant thing over the years, and it's strange that in 2025 we're still talking about something such as this, which should not even be heard amongst us. But fingers crossed, we know that the Federation would step in on this, especially with that retort from that body. I believe that will be treated with utmost professionalism in ensuring that they are put in their place. That's very important. If the government says this is the authority in charge of esports, you cannot stand up and say you have nothing to do with them. Then you had better just move to maybe Uganda or Rwanda or another country where the federation isn't up yet. And the truth is every other country is also setting up their federation. And there will be rules and regulations that will put people in their place. Let's take a quick break. And this is to take our retro for today. We'll take a retro with this break. When we get back, there's still more on the news, and that's beyond Africa. And what is the retro for today? We're looking at playing Contra. If you remember Contra, I know when we first talked about it, I said I didn't know about it, but I've done my research. Now I know about Contra, and it's playing Contra on NES. That is Nintendo Entertainment System console with an old JVC video screen TV. Let's look at this. When we get back, there's more on the news, but this time beyond Africa. Welcome back. Yes, that was the retro for today, and it was just to take a quick break in between before we continue with the news and going beyond Africa. Now let's talk about the Esports World Cup Foundation, where the 40 teams that would be part of the club program, that's the club program created for the Esports World Cup, have been announced. 40 teams from across the world. None from Africa, yes, for now, but 40 teams from across the world. Some interesting names there. Out of over 200 clubs that actually applied, over 200 clubs applied, but they narrowed it down to just 40 that were selected for the club partner program of the Esports World Cup Foundation. And we're talking popular names, as you can see some of their logos there during the unveiling, and you can see that with that lovely unveiling video. 100 Thieves, we're looking at Face Clan, Fnatic, which is my favorite club, G2 Esports, Team Liquid, Team Falcons, which is becoming my second favorite club. And you know why? That's because they won the Esports World Cup last year, and because they are from Saudi Arabia. We've got Wolves Esports, which is good to see, and that's the same Wolves that plays in the Premier League. Their esports team got into the program, and we've got Team BDS and so many more. There's a $20 million money that's been put on this, and each of the clubs stand a chance of getting quite a chunk of this to drive fan engagement and also build, their operation. So this is a fantastic program. This is a good initiative, and definitely we're looking to a future where we can begin to see some of the clubs that we've mentioned on the African continent get to participate in this one. On a final note on the news, beyond Africa, let's talk about the British Esports led by Chester King, a very good friend, and they've signed an MOU with the Turkish Esports. Turkish Esports, they've signed that MOU with Turkish Esports, talking about the British Esports Federation. And I think I can bring back Ife on this one. Ife, are you there with me?
Yes, so both presidents met, and we do have a picture of them. The collaboration had specifics. They were very, very specific, unlike a few other MOUs where you don't see two people standing together and holding a piece of paper, but this, they were actually specific as to what they want to do. So part of those include, you know, collaborating online and physically, where they would use that to, I think, more about preparing themselves battle ready for international competitions, and then to also support each other on the continent side of things. So if there's an agenda either one is pushing, both sides would support themselves. So if it's a British esports agenda that they are pushing in Europe, the Turkey Federation will support, and vice versa. And then how to build school and university esports, exchange of ideas, exchange of plans. So it is very, very well detailed, even as much as going far to developing that esports curriculum. So if they develop it, both sides would use it. So there is, you know, scratch my back and scratch yours in this case, and I'm loving this because it is very, very detailed. I'm a very detailed person. If we're going into an agreement for esports, let's be more specific as to what we're doing. And I think those back home in Africa, most especially, because we've seen so many just pose for the camera and hold on to paper and nothing. This is more detailed as to what they do, and obviously this makes sense.
Nothing more.
Don't just come and tell us we are signing MOU for a few things that actually do not make sense. So I'm happy about this, and I'm hoping the African federations or any other, you know, private entity who are going into signing of MOUs take a cue from this.
All right, definitely we expect they will take a cue from this, but all the best to the British Esports and Turkish Esports Federation. Looking forward to see the impact of this, both on their different ecosystem and of course on the European and international scene. All right, it's time to take another break, guys, but this time around we'll take it with our spotlight. And like we told you last week, we decided to, you know, bring into the spotlight games that are developed here by, you know, the studios making the rounds. Hopefully soon we'll get some of the guys in the studio here to discuss some of these games and some of the other projects, amazing projects you need to know that they are working with. Let's talk about this one from Deluxe Studios, which is led by eBotola, a friend of the house, and it is known as Rasta Santa. What exactly is Rasta Santa?
So yes, so today's retro is a game called Rasta Santa by Deluxe Studios, one of the studios in Nigeria. It's a wonderful game which it came out ending of last year. So it's about you know, a Santa who is on Rasta, who is going James Bond mode. A few people in the community have been captured by hoodlums and he has to save them. So it's an adventure game, pretty easy, straightforward, where you move left, right, jump, try and beat those hoodlums, and then you keep it moving. It's a wonderful game. I hope you enjoyed the rule, and you can always give us a feedback as to what you feel about the game. The game is available on both the Android Play Store and the Apple Apple Store. Please download and support. The whole idea is for us to promote games across Africa from our indie studios. So it's an easy game, doesn't take much memory on your phone, so give it a try and let us know what you think.
All right, thanks for shedding the light on it. We would look at this, and when we get back, there's more before we wrap up for this week on the Afrogamer Show. Stick around, guys.
Mark one. Where the little ones there?
They have been kidnapped by the traffickers.
No one can violate the little ones and escape retribution.
The blood run dry.
You think say you bad?
Download for free.
Alright, welcome back. That is Rasta Santa, and it's you can get to download it, get to play. It's fun. Although you begin to wonder, will Rasta really get that violent? I doubt it, but hey, I mean Santa, not Rasta. Santa really get that violent, but then it was all about survival, and we totally understand that. Talking about Rasta Santa, kudos to the guys at Deluxe Studios, led by eBotola, a very good friend of the house. All right, guys, let's move on this day, and it's time for the fun side of games. And I ask, have you ever seen a Jacquzi that is made with a PlayStation 1 console? That is our fun side of games. Let's check it out, and when we get back, it will be time to go, but not without our game over. What do we want to talk about? You don't want to miss it. Stick around, guys. Welcome back. How many people would love to take a bath in there or just chill? Maybe just chill, have a cocktail, have a call, or just, hang in there. That looks lovely. PlayStation 1 Jacquzi, or should we call it a pool, whichever one it is, but it's lovely theme there. All right, guys, it's time to go for this week, but not without our game over. And for those who are joining us for the first time, game over is where we bring something thought-provoking to the front burner and get to talk about it and leave you with something to think about all through the weekend, or probably all through the rest of the week till we come to you again next week. And this time, we want to talk about something really important that we touched on during the news earlier on. So, like I always say, come close. Let's talk about it. The issue of owing of prize money has become something that is not to be heard of amongst us. And we cannot sugarcoat this in any way, considering the fact that high hopes are tied to this prize pool from the gamers who get to participate in this tournament. It's either they're looking to use it for something to help themselves or help somebody else, or some other, expense that they're looking at it to do, and beyond the investment of the time, the emotions, and every other thing, you begin to look at the fact that they want to be rewarded. Just like the good book says, the Bible, it says a laborer is worthy of his wages, and that's exactly what it is with these gamers. So why then do we have instances where prize money is not paid at all, or not paid in full? It becomes a worrying situation. It's even worse when we discover that a tournament is being organized by one who has a team, and that is the case of you having an interest in this same tournament. That does not make any sense. That does not even lead to any form of professionalism. That does not showcase that we're forward thinking or progressing in the way we're doing things, and we expect that across the continent this would not be the case. If you're a tournament organizer, stay in that lane and do it right. If you own a team, stay in that lane and do it as it should be. Participate in tournament, not necessarily set up a tournament that has your team playing in it. It's just like you saying you're the judge and the jury. That is our game over for this edition. And as always, it's been a pleasure bringing this to you, your weekend starter, talking about the Afrogamer Show right here on Afro Sports TV. My name is Shayo, your regular host. I'll catch you next week with another juicy encounter that you don't want to miss. Bye for now, guys.